Chapter 1. I looked good. Felt like $1,000,000. And that didn't happen too often for a sister like me. I'd had some bad days for the past few months. Experiencing a good day for a change lifted my spirits. I couldn't remember the last time I dressed up in formal clothes. Tonight I wore a burgundy dress with sequins embroidered on the front. Now I still struggled with my weight, so my brand new Spanx had me feeling younger. I almost forgot I'd been wearing it, and that alone was enough to make me smile. What really had me grinning like a schoolgirl was the man in front of me. Amos Jones, my husband. Still newlyweds, we married 8 months ago, and despite some unforeseeable incidents, we continued to enjoy each other's company. That's all that mattered. Right now, we danced like we were teenagers again to Fire by the Ohio Players. I believe it was the first time we'd partied since our wedding. I have to thank my bestie, Rosemary Gladstone, who berated me a few weeks ago about my desire to skip yet another high school reunion. Still grieving for my first husband, I avoided the 40th class reunion. The reason for I skipped the others I couldn't recall. This was the first time Rosemary had chaired the reunion committee, so the least I could do was support her. The high school classmate who had previously kept the tradition sadly passed away, and someone else had to pick up the reins. Rosemary had been the manager of events at the Charleston Place Hotel for years. Since she oversaw bookings at the hotel all the time, it was quite easy for her to reserve the ballroom for our 45th reunion. The grand and historical building offered an elegant setting. I did not know where Rosemary found the disco balls, but the glittering lights were perfect and hypnotized me back into time. The DJ changed to a more mellow song, which was fine by me. My body reminded me I was 62. I smiled and swayed to Ain't Nothing Like the Real Thing. Most people are used to hearing the version by Marvin Gaye and Tammy Terrell, but I had a sweet spot for the version sung by Aretha Franklin. Her voice touched my soul. Amos did a shuffle and winked at me. "May I have this dance?" "Absolutely." I placed my arm around his shoulder, oblivious to everyone around us. I was truly grateful for how much I loved this man. Amos had been by my side for quite a few years before we were hitched. Neighbors and both widows, it seemed like a likely pairing for a second time down the altar. I think what really brought us together was the fact that I had a tendency to stick my nose into places that often involved a dead body. Amos, being a former homicide detective, always came to my rescue. The last time, I really got into hot water. Though my purpose was to clear Amos's daughter from being a prime suspect in a murder, I was surprised by the actual murderer. So I've since promised my family there would be no more amateur sleuth adventures from me. I felt good about making that promise. In all honesty, the last incident scared me to pieces. I couldn't sleep for weeks. Sometimes I still woke Amos up after having a nightmare. The song changed over to Can't Get Enough of Your Love. I looked at Amos. Now, I love some Barry White, but my feet have had enough. He chuckled. "I'm glad we attended your reunion tonight." "Me too. I didn't think showing up at my 45th high school reunion would be so much fun. Or maybe I need to get out more, Mr. Jones." Amos threw his head back and laughed. "We are retired. There's no reason we can't do a lot more. I told you we could even travel if you want." The thought had occurred to me a few times. I hadn't taken a vacation in a long time. Before we walked back to our table, Amos and I helped ourselves to a second plate from the serving table. Dancing worked up an appetite. The reunion had been catered by the local restaurant, the Chicken Shack. There were an array of wings, both fried and roasted, arranged on large platters. Tiny cups of sauce, like ranch, honey mustard, and barbecue were nearby. The addition of a honey-flavored biscuit and iced tea to my plate had me feeling like I was walking on a cloud. Dancing and eating good food. I couldn't have asked for a better Saturday night.